Hello, welcome to the third part of our lecture on energy flow in an ecosystem. In the first part, we have understood about the source of energy and the concept of energy. In the second part, we have talked about the laws of thermodynamics and how the laws of thermodynamics are applicable to the flow of energy within an ecosystem. In the last part, we'll talk about a very interesting topic which is called the 10% rule or the 10% law. To properly understand how energy is flowing within an ecosystem in a food chain, this law is very important. Let us see what the law states, and then I'll try to explain how exactly this law is applicable by taking an example of a food chain. Let us see the law. The law was actually proposed by Raymond Lindman in the year 1942. The law states that during the transfer of energy from organic food from one trophic level to the next, about 10% of the energy from the organic matter is stored as flesh. Now let me explain what this law actually states. This law states that when the energy which is present as organic food is getting transferred from one trophic level to the next, only about 10% of energy is getting stored in the form of flesh. So only 10% of energy is available to the next trophic level as food. This is a simple or summarization of this law. Now you will understand this law once I take an example and make you understand how this energy, this 10% is applicable within a food chain. Okay, now let us consider a food chain. So we'll talk about food chain in details, but just to give you an idea about how the food chain is there, how energy is traveling from different trophic levels within a food chain. So first we have the autotrophs, the green plants. Over here we have taken an example of grass. Okay. So the second is the primary consumers. The primary consumers, the herbivores or the animals which feed directly on the autotrophs. So we have taken an example of grasshopper. So grasshopper feeds on grasses. So grasshopper becomes the primary consumer. Now then comes a secondary consumer. Secondary consumers are those which feeds on the primary consumers. So you have taken an example of frog. So frog will feed on grasshopper. So frog becomes a secondary consumer. Then we have the tertiary consumers. Tertiary consumers are those which feed on the secondary consumers. So the examples are snakes. So snakes will feed on the frogs. So snakes become the tertiary consumer. So if you go further, so we have the quaternary consumers. These consumers will feed on the tertiary consumers. So examples of quaternary consumers are eagles or hawk. So they will feed on the snakes. So this is just an example of a food chain where food from the grasses is getting transferred from one trophic level to the next. These are called the trophic levels. The levels where primary consumers, secondary consumers, tertiary consumers, quaternary consumers, all these are the trophic levels. We'll talk about trophic levels and the food chain in details in the next lecture, but this is just to give you an idea about the 10% rule. Now, suppose for example, the plants has taken the solar radiations and ultimately used up some energy, and some energy it has fixed, it has stored in its cells, in its body in the form of energy. So let us say that in the grasses, suppose there are grasses, some grasses is there, in these grasses it has stored, let us say 10,000 joules of energy. So some grasses are there, and in the grasses it has stored energy which is stored in the grasses as 10,000 joules of energy stored. Now if the grasshopper feeds on the grass, so let us say this grasshopper is there, and for an example I am telling you, this grasshopper is there and it feeds on this complete grass, which actually contains 10,000 joules of energy. and it feeds on it. So how much energy will be eaten up by the grasshopper? So I'll write eating up. It eats how much amount of energy? It will eat up 10,000 joules of energy. It will eat up 10,000 joules of energy. Now, once it eats up 10,000 joules of energy, what the grasshopper will do with that energy? It will use that energy for its own metabolic processes. So how much energy is used up by the grasshopper? According to this 10% law, it states that using or used up energy is about 90%. 90% of the energy is actually used up. So total energy it is eaten up is 10,000. It is using up 90% of this energy. So how much energy is actually getting stored? How much energy is actually getting stored in the body of the grasshopper, in the flesh of the grasshopper? So stored, how much is getting stored? 10%. Now what is the 10% value of 10,000? So I'll do a calculation over here. So we have 10,000 into its 10%. So what will come? Cancel out zeros. So I have 1000 joules. So if the grasshopper is eating this grass which contains 10,000 joules of energy, or 10,000 joules of energy is available to this grasshopper, it eats that grass, only 10%, that is 1000 joules of energy will be stored in its body as flesh. So only 10% gets stored. Now let us see, if the frog eats the grasshopper, what will happen? If the frog eats the grasshopper, so if the frog eats the grasshopper, how much energy it will eat? So I'm drawing it and put an arrow over here for the calculation. So it will eat up how much energy? It will eat 1000 joules, because 1000 joules is available for the frog from the grasshopper. It will used up how much energy will be used up? 90% of it will be used up by the frog for its own metabolic process. How much will be stored? 10%. What is the 10% of 1000 joules? It will be 100 joules. So this 100 joules of energy will now be stored in the body of the frog. So you have to understand this concept. So at a level there is some energy. If the next higher level eats it, 90% of that whole energy available will be used up, 10% will get stored. Let us see the next. Now if the frog is eaten up by the snake, so how much energy it will get it from the frog after eating? It will get 100 joules, because 100 joules energy is now available. How much will be used up? 90%. What will be stored in the body of the frog? 10%, which is equal to 10 joules. So 10 joules of energy will be taken up by the snake once it eats the frog. Now if an eagle eats the snake, and if you do all this calculation, it will come that ultimately in the body of the eagle, how much energy will be stored? Only a single joule. The same calculations if you do. So in the body of the eagle, only 1 joule of energy will get stored. Now you look at this calculation and you understand the concept. What was the total energy was present in grass? 10,000 joules. That a random value had taken, 10,000 joules. What is the amount of energy which is ultimately stored in the quaternary consumer coming from this grass? Only a single joule. So there is, you can say, the energy which is getting stored is going on decreasing. So there is a progressive loss of energy once it moves into each trophic levels. So you have to understand this concept. Once that energy moves from one trophic level to other, there is a progressive loss of energy, and only 10% of energy will get stored in each trophic level. which is available actually to it. So you have to, again, this concept is very, very important. Once we learn about the food chain and the food webs, you have to understand this concept that once energy is available at a lower trophic level, say let us say primary consumers, the energy available for grasshopper is 10,000 joules. But once, what is the total ultimate energy which is available to this eagle? Only 10 joules. How much energy ultimately is getting stored? Only a single joule. So there is a progressive loss of energy at each trophic level. I hope you have understood this. So this actually concludes our topic about the energy flow within an ecosystem. We had talked about the concept of energy, the sources of energy and the usefulness of energy. In the second lecture, we had talked about the laws of thermodynamics and how the laws of thermodynamics guides the flow of energy within an ecosystem. And last, we have seen about a very important rule given by Raymond Lindman in 1942, which is called the 10% rule, which actually states at each trophic level only 10% of energy is getting stored. So there is a progressive loss of energy once we move along the food chain or move along the trophic levels. So this, why I had taken this topic first before the food chain topic, is that once we understand this concept on this energy flow, it will be very easy to understand the progress of energy, or it will be very easy to understand how a food chain or a food web work. Similarly, this concept will also be helpful when we learn about ecological pyramids. So in the next set of lectures, first I will cover up the food chain, the second I will cover up the food webs, and then I will take the ecological pyramids. Hope this lecture and this 3-part lecture on energy flow is helpful. Thank you.